Tuesday, November 4th. It is election day. It is election day. Just so you're aware, go out and vote. You know, do your civic duty because you're supposed to and you want to. The reality is that, you know, here in Georgia, we get to vote for the Power Utility Commission, and I went out and did early voting. And I'm proud and happy that I did it because hopefully we get some remedy from our obsessive and intrusive power rates that, you know, Georgia Power continues to do it. We got Alpha Pick Scalping. I got a reminder for you about Black Friday sales, market rally. Is this going to rally? Because I'll tell you, Michael Burry is telling you to sell again. We'll just go over the last time he did that. Maybe not the right thing. Quant Ratings, they're never perfect. And Steve Kress is giving you 5 stocks that have a sell and an example of it. The Bitcoin miners are turning into power companies. We saw it with Cypher yesterday, 22%. We'll go over some stuff. And then we'll go over earnings because we've got Palantir, Hims, Uber. We got AMD tonight, Spotify. So there's a lot that's going on. Here's the market. This is a 4-hour look at QQQ, and we'll even take it out of the 4-hour algorithm and just show you a daily. And see that green line? That is a weekly trend line that I drew from COVID. So I've had this up for a long time. The indicators do seem stretched on the weekly chart, but you're in a bull market until you're not. So as we see today, the market's pulling back 1.53%. Your portfolio may be down. You may be down a significant amount, like me. I'm sure I will open up and I will be shocked at the amount that I lose, probably more than I ever made a year. But the reality is we haven't broken a trend. So for me, I'm just looking at it as just a down day. My thanks, by the way, for yesterday, because yesterday I posted this. I posted a little late yesterday. And it was because this little one was at the vet, and there's Penny in the back of the car, but everything's fine. Everything's good. I did post yesterday. I was on at noon and I went for an alpha scalp because we got a new alpha pick. And if you don't know what alpha picks is, it is a data driven portfolio. That 251 only goes through October 16th. So I haven't put up a graphic here, but that 251, I think is like 260, 270 right now. I'm not exactly sure. But during the same, it outperforms the S&P. You get alerts when to sell the stocks. You get stocks that pick multiple sectors. And yesterday's alpha pick stock, I bought a bunch. And I ranted how bad it was and how bad I felt like 2 minutes after I bought it. It's a Biopharma stock, which I'm never a huge fan of. And I didn't like that I bought so much. I felt guilty. I was like, why did I do that? You'll see my reaction if you watch this live. Okay. Now, it was pointed out to me by a listener that Joe Terranova, who is the manager of the Joe T ETF, which is always on CNBC, that he bought this same stock a little while ago. Okay. I was upset. I didn't like it. But FYI, at the end of the day, I was up, the stock was up 8%. And it was up another 3% after hours. Again, even though the market's down today, this particular stock is up in pre-market the last time I checked it. I'll probably trim as it starts to turn down a little, but I got a little ahead of my skis, and that's a good lesson for everybody, okay? I got lucky on this one. I don't like Biopharma. The amount I made on this particular buy would have paid for alpha picks for 5 years. That's how good this particular stock reacted. And it wasn't reacting from alpha picks. The reason it was reacting is it's a quality stock. So this strategy of alpha pick scalping, it's worked. Sometimes you get lucky when you buy. But the point I'm trying to make is when you buy a quality stock, you have a much better chance of making a profit. And one alpha pick stock reported earnings yesterday. The stock is up 135% in 6 months and 12% in the last month. They beat on earnings per share and revenue was up 4% yesterday. It is up another 3%. And again, a good quality stock. This is a second stock. Remember, Alpha Picks is more than just a buy now and sell now portfolio if you want to do it. It's a list of stocks that you can trade based on solid fundamentals. In fact, they have 4 stocks that are up 200% or more over the last 6 months. 2 stocks that I've mentioned recently that got huge pullbacks, and you can go and read the newsletter. They are in there. I'm not going to bring them up right now, but they were up 5% and 6% yesterday. And Steve Kress wrote to the Alpha Picks subscribers and said, hey, even though these are down big, the fundamentals are still there. These are quality stocks with fundamentals that are still good. 14 stocks yesterday were up more than 1%. 7 of the stocks in the portfolio were up more than 3% yesterday. So again, if you want Alpha Picks, it is available on Linktree, okay? But let me give you a reminder, okay? Any of the tools that I sell, okay? That includes TrendSpider. That includes this Premium and Alpha Picks bundle. That includes Seeking Alpha Pro, which you can get for $99 for the first month. That includes Seeking Alpha Premium, which you get a free 7-day trial on. That includes Alpha Picks. All of these will have Black Friday sales. They will. So I want to give you a little tip. You may have a smaller portfolio and you may say, hey, I don't know if I really, can afford to buy these. Put them on a holiday wish list. Any of the tools on my Linktree, go and put them on a holiday wish list. You may not have a large account, but that may not matter if you can get a loved one to buy you these tools instead of underwear. They're more expensive than underwear, but maybe they don't buy you underwear and socks this year. Maybe they get you Alpha Picks. And you can learn about a data-driven portfolio and a rules-based portfolio. So again, put them on your list. Would I go out and buy them today? If you just want to go out and buy it today, that's your thing. Again, it's not going to save you 50, 60, 70%. But these are good Black Friday deals. I don't know the details of them. I don't know when they start, but they will have Black Friday sales. My idea is just put them on a watch list for your holiday treats. Instead of getting an Xbox, get Alpha Picks. Now let's talk about the market rally. Okay. Overnight, the market sell-off hit Asia, spread to Europe. And now in the pre-market, we're down. QQQ's down 1.56%. The Dow is down, all of that. You're seeing some of the laggards like Palantir. Okay. Palantir reported great earnings. We'll go over them. It's down 8%. But when you look at Palantir year to date, what did it start the year at? 70. You're at $207 it closed at yesterday. So again, it ran. Look at UNH. This is one that has had a crazy, crazy run since Warren Buffett. Again, 4-hour algorithm got you in there at 246. The 4-hour algorithm got you out with a 40% gain. But this is pulling back, and I've put these yellow lines. You'll see these yellow lines. These are my identifications of support and resistance. On every stock chart that I follow, I usually put in these lines. Where's the support here? 316. Where's it trading right now? 326. It's down 2% in the pre-market. Will it hit 316? Maybe. If it bounces off that old resistance, which is right here and right here in September, turns to new support. It's a fundamentally decent stock. And what we're seeing with earnings, this has already gone through earnings, but what we're seeing with earnings, typically, historically, a beat and raise is met with huge gains. This quarter, stocks aren't popping like they normally do. It doesn't seem like the market is weak. It's just exhausted. Because again, when you look at this, we've just been going up and up. Tom Lee said on CNBC yesterday, this is his clip, Tom Lee called for the S&P to get it to 7,500. FYI, it's at 6,800. He called for Bitcoin to get to 150,000. FYI, it's at like 100,000. He called for Ethereum to get to over 7,000. FYI, it's at 3,800. He's crazy. but is a rally around the corner. He's been more right than wrong. And so you look at Cantor Fitzgerald, sees year-end rally as AI earnings drives the market momentum. And I'm going to read you a quote from this article. The investment bank also highlighted the powerful tailwinds stemming from the ongoing build-out of artificial intelligence infrastructure, describing it as a historic technological transformation that is injecting significant capital into the economy. Despite elevated valuations compared to historical averages, the firm believes that the robust revenue and earnings growth, AI-driven productivity gains, expanding margins, and easing interest rates will continue to underpin the possibly extend the market valuations into 2026. So you're in a bull market until you're not. That's essentially the overview that Cantor Fitzgerald gives. Again, are you buying? Say you've got $10,000. Okay, say you don't go balls deep. You don't buy $10,000 worth of QQQ today. Stick the tip in. Get $1,000 worth of it on a little dip. Just the tip. And to give you an alternate view, okay? Michael Burry, the guy, if you haven't watched The Big Short, go and watch The Big Short. Michael Burry is betting against Palantir and NVIDIA. And we just went over, Palantir reported a record earnings, but they're down 8%. Michael Burry's doing fantastic. NVIDIA, down like 2%. He's probably doing decent. 80% of his portfolio is betting against Palantir and NVIDIA. But I want to just remind you, and I'm going to put this screenshot in the newsletter, okay? Michael Burry, on January 31st, 2023, posted on Twitter, sell. January 2023. Let's go and look at just a monthly chart, and we'll pull up January 2023. January 2023 was right here, okay? January 2020 through 2020 saw a 10% monthly increase. February saw a 0.2 decrease, okay? March saw a 10% increase. The initial tweet, he deleted it. The follow-up 2 months later, Burry posted again, I was wrong to say sell, and he congratulated those who bought the dip. At the time of the sell tweet, the NASDAQ 100 had entered a bull market, so he timed it exactly opposite. Just be aware of that before you go in. And again, this is an article that explains everything. So if you want more details, you can go and look at them. But don't listen to a douche on the internet. Understand you need to take the fundamentals and the technicals of these things. This was clear, by the way. He was saying, oh, we're going to go back down. Well, the Fed wasn't, they were starting to ease. They weren't starting to raise again. They were starting to ease. Look at the MACD down there. Look at the RSI coming off of levels. We're at the bottom of the Bollinger Bands. So again, use your technicals and your fundamentals. Now, the NASDAQ futures sell off sharply as the AI tech-driven rally loses steam. That's the headline. It's the headline. Today, Palantir results, the market has started out weak. You have AMD, Shopify, and Uber, among others, that will release their results. Again, we'll go over earnings and stuff like that, but I want to point this out. And Kobeshi Letter points this out. OpenAI now has signed a $500 billion Stargate deal, $100 billion NVIDIA deal, $100 billion AMD deal, $38 billion Amazon deal, $25 billion Intel deal, $20 billion Taiwan Semi deal, $13 billion Microsoft deal, $10 billion Oracle deal, signed multi-billion dollar Broadcom deal, launched a browser, became the world's most valuable private company, and is considering a $1 trillion IPO. That's one company that is driving a lot of this market. Does it mean that you're in a bubble? Not necessarily. Again, a lot of people are pointing out we are in the midst of a generational technological revolution. So where do you turn? Well, maybe it's the quant. Maybe it's the quant. We're seeing the big movers, Upwork. We're seeing the big losers, Sarepta, Hive, Palantir. But maybe it's the quant, because Fiserv, if you don't remember, Fiserv was a warning. This was down 50% in a day. Right after it was the quant pointed it as a strong sell. Okay? Strong sell at 64. It was a sell. Let's move back. At 137, where is it today? 65. It went to a sell at 137. Where is it today? 65. So maybe you want to pay attention, because Steve goes over 5 popular stocks with quant sell ratings. Again, you want to take a look at the tools that you have. All of these stocks are, it's not just about making picks. It's about also protecting your capital, making sure that if fundamentals and technicals break down, as you see in a raging bull market sometimes, you can get out. So if your stock, say you have Chipotle, say you were like, well, I eat a burrito every freaking day, I should have this. And back in July, you were at 56, and today you're at 31. Well, where did it go to a sell? It went at 41. That's a big move from 41 to 31. Nothing is perfect. So it doesn't mean that this won't bounce, because you can see Wall Street says it's a buy. What's Wall Street's price target? 44. And they've been chasing it down. You can see from this chart. So again, find a tool that works for you, but understand you need fundamentals and you need technicals. If the two don't mix, then maybe it's a trade, not an investment. Now I want to go over this one, because I pointed out this was an original tweet from Mike Alfred, okay? This was October 28th, just last week. Quick friendly reminder, Cipher is likely to announce an AI co-location deal for all of Black Pearl's 300 megawatts before Thanksgiving. This is a massive deal. I put this in the newsletter. Now, do I own Cipher? No. I put it in the newsletter. I didn't take this trade. Why? Because I have hundreds of thousands of dollars in Nebius and in IREN. I didn't feel like putting more money into a Cipher, which is kind of the same thing. But I saw this and I said, you know what? It is something to keep on my watch list. I thought I had plenty of time. I didn't, because Cipher Mining yesterday, it jumped 15-year lease with AWS. It was up 22%. Now, again, let's look at some of the fundamentals and some of the technicals. Technically, the 4-hour algorithm had you at $20. Yesterday, it pumped all the way to $25 during the market. That would have been a nice get. And you had the MACD at a level. That was fine. The RSI going into earnings, it was at 49 in no man's land. But you can see on a weekly chart, it seems a little stretched. But you had a nice little pop, again, with the 4-hour algorithm. Got you in at 20. I had pointed out that, hey, the support is probably at 15. Well, if we see this pull back to 15, expect me to start adding to it. Because Mike Alfred, if you've gotten shaken out of the CIFR by the shorts, quants, and on that soft and obvious fake move to 2102, because it went nuts yesterday. It had volatility. It went all the way down to 2102. And Mike's pointing out, if you got out, you're not in this for the long haul. You're trading it. So identify before you buy it, whether it's a trade, whether it's an investment. Because a lot of these things can move exactly like that. And Mike's giving you the guidance. He's saying this stock is going to $30 to $50 in the short term and $100 in the long term. And he's been more right than wrong. I like his stuff. So if you're on Twitter, follow him. Now let's go over Palantir. This was the biggest duh in the market. We knew Carp was going to come out and kill it. The stock's reaction was interesting. It was up 10% on the news. Let's just go and look at a 5-minute chart after hours. Look at that. We can go and look at a 1 minute, because the 1 minute even shows you that you had time to actually get this yesterday. We'll look at this one. You had time to get this yesterday. But after that, you didn't have time. It just started beating down. Now, Karp said after hours, he said, hey, this was our best quarter. The pullback is nothing more than just a pullback. This isn't one that, oh my God, the market's giving up on it. Let's go and look at Palantir. The fundamentals of this one. It's expensive, but it's up 173% year to date. It's up 400% in 1 year. And you're worried about an 8% pullback? Now, can it move even more? Dan Ives said this is a $1 trillion market cap company. Its market cap today, $491 billion. That means it could double from here, according to Dan Ives. The valuation makes no sense. Retail folks, they're holding. Traders will trade it. I just think larger institutions are fine taking profits and holding this as part of the S&P rather than a single stock. And you can see Wall Street only has a $174 price target on this one. They'll raise it. That quarter was so good. What's my guidance on this one? If you can get it under 200, Karp is a legend. It was the best quarter that they had. Again, if you can get this under 200, I think it's a $200 stock. If you can buy this at 190 and make an easy 5%, you may go back to 150. Again, point out your levels. Find levels in this one. Mine is 160. If that pulls back to 160 on the 200-day right there, I'm in. That might make me actually get it. That would be under the 50-day, which, by the way, has been a great time to buy this one. So again, mix the fundamentals with the technicals. And Uber beat earnings per share and revenue this morning. And they announced a $20 billion buyback. Okay, it's down 7% at $92. And you can see Uber outperforms on Q3, but guidance curbs investors' enthusiasm. Now let's look at the technicals of this one. Does this one make sense? Because the fundamentals all make sense. Again, it was just the guidance. It's priced to perfection. If this gets down to the 80s, I will be buying a ton. I already own 5 figures of this. I think it's low 5 figures. I don't think it's much. I own it as part of the Alpha Picks portfolio, but I also own a personal amount. Down 7%, not going to be easy for me to live with. 4-hour algorithm had me in at 92. Probably gets you out here with some type of maybe a loss, maybe a gain. Who knows what the future holds? But the 4-hour algorithm makes you 88%. Buying and holding makes you 134%. I buy and hold this one. I have it over a year. I think I'm up like 111% on this. It's a $100 stock. This is simply a stock. If you want to go and look at the fundamentals of this one, they haven't changed. Your valuation, it's a D+. The reason? Because it's gotten more expensive than 6 months ago. Over 6 months, you're up 16%. But the growth hasn't changed. The profitability hasn't changed. The momentum got a little bit worse because it's bumping up against that valuation. Now, revisions, it's a B-. There's 14 people to bring in their earnings per share. They just beat. Nobody's bringing their revenue down. This is simply a stock that has run quite a bit with some profit taking as the valuation has grown a little extended. But the growth in the company is what's key. If you look at this rating, the growth at an 8%, they're growing 18% year over year. Earnings per share up 545%. The Quant says this is number 2 out of 8. What's number 1? It's Lyft. It's got a better Quant score. Its valuation's still stretched. But personally, Lyft for me is an afterthought. When I go out there and I need a ride, I try Uber. It's expensive. When there's something else, I find Uber too expensive, I may go to Lyft. And Waymo is a distant third if you're thinking about that. But FYI, you can get Waymo here in Atlanta through Uber. So Uber is the winner in the passenger ground transportation for me. Again, for me, I think it's a $100 stock. and I will continue to add to it on the dips. I like it. Now, Hims, let's talk about boner pills. This squeezed up as it missed an earnings per share, but beat on revenue. But that didn't matter. What matters is that they're in discussions with Novo Nordisk to sell Wegovy. Now, this is an expensive stock. The valuation sucks because they're not actually making a profit. Okay, but their growth is 88% revenue growth year over year. Profitability, 76% gross profit margin. Momentum, fantastic, except for the last 3 months. So have we turned to a downturn on this one? Well, the reaction to earnings was actually very good. If we go and look at the after hours and that grit shading, you can see the reaction to the earnings was really good. It pushed all the way up to 48. And right now you're trading at 45. Now, what does the 4-hour algorithm do? Well, the 4-hour algorithm, it makes you 202%. Buying and holding makes you 631%. I have put these levels in. Okay, that $25 was old, but it's there, and it's just back in April. If you bought in April at 25, you pumped all the way up to that 63, and you've hit that 63 once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6 times since April. It's clear. It's a pumper up there. So if you want to buy at 45, I think you hit 50 when this deal with Novo Nordisk comes into play. Again, Hims and Hers in discussions with Novo Nordisk to sell Wegovy. That's what's keeping this stock up. They took their own little boner pill. And they said, our earnings suck. Let's take a little Viagra. Let's pump our stock up a little bit. That's what they're doing. But expect that to pump back to that. And it's not, for me, this would not be an investment, even though for many people it is. For me, this would be an obvious trade. Now, many of you, the majority of people that listen to my podcast, listen on Spotify. They killed it on earnings. Upbeat forecast. Along with strong Q3 subs and results, it lifts shares. It's now down. Why? The valuation is stretched. Again, they're not making money. For me, Netflix is a better stock to buy than Spotify. Why? Because they have better fundamentals. You're paying the PE forward 103 times. The PEG is 2.18. That's too expensive, even though the growth is phenomenal. But again, it's just expensive. But Spotify's great. They pay me a lot of money every month. I love it. I love it. They allow me to talk to you. So it's a good company. But at some point, a good company even has to come down because that growth, you're seeing this one. If we go and look at the year to date, up 43%, 1 year, 70%, 6 months, it's only up 1%. 1 month, you're down 8%. So if you look at the momentum, it's a B, but I would argue this isn't a B. It's only a B because of the long term, not the short term. You go back to, April 24th, you're trading where you're at today. So again, you've made a full round trip. That's 617. That's an old support that I drew in there. Where is that from? Well, it's from this previous high back in February where it's pulled back to. And again, with a lot of these companies that have soared and their valuations don't make sense, go and find a previous high where it pulled back. Put in a yellow line in your chart. And if you don't have that ability to do it, get TrendSpider. Put it on your Christmas list. Now tonight we have AMD. Intel and AMD, they rose due to AI demand from a report yesterday. AMD was up 1.38%. Okay, does it make fundamental sense for AMD? Well, it's a hold in the quant. Why? Because of valuation. Okay, and I will tell you, based on forward numbers, AMD right here, 65.87 on the PE. Let's just pull up NVIDIA. We'll pull up NVIDIA versus AMD. NVIDIA on valuation, it's 45. So who do you want, the leader or the second place? Because again, it's very similar. 65 on AMD, 45 on NVIDIA, NVIDIA's cheaper. And let's go look at the technicals of AMD, okay? 4-hour algorithm got you in, and I got in at that 160. You're up over 60%. Great, great buy. You closed at 259 yesterday. You are down 3% at 250. Where are you pulling back to? Well, I would argue if we see a pullback, the first base would be 227. Am I selling? Maybe on the 4-hour algorithm, I will sell. I have to make my determination, but today's earnings are exactly where I will make that determination. This could pull back all the way to that 160. We've got a gap here from 167 to 202. That was the OpenAI partnership. Now, I want to point out something to you, because when I pull up a weekly chart and I look at this, do you see something? Does anything stand out to you about the MACD and the RSI? Look at the last time they were here. I'm not going to point this out to you. I want you to do some homework, because if you own AMD, you should absolutely know this. The last time the MACD was where it was at, the last time the RSI was where it's at, what did the stock price do? Does that give you an idea of what's going to happen with earnings? Because it does with me. And it concerns me. So take a look at the last time the MACD and the RSI were here. That's all I'm going to give you. Remember, based on forward numbers, AMD is actually much more expensive than NVIDIA. And NVIDIA's got a bigger partnership with OpenAI, bigger partnership with Amazon, bigger partnership with Microsoft. So again, take a look at that. Now, I'm going to tell you tonight's earnings. You know, we've got tonight AMD. We've got Supermicro. We've got Aristanet Networks. We've got Hamid's favorite. We've got Rivian. We've got Pelosi buy, TEM. Shy loves AXON. This is peak earnings season. This is a great time to make some money, but it's also a very fearful time where if you don't come in at the right price, you're going to get killed. You've got AppLovin tomorrow. You've got Hood tomorrow. You've got Qualcomm, IONQ, Duolingo, Fortinet, Elf, Joby, Dash, EOSE. You've got a lot of things going on. Understand where your stocks are that you've bought into. Now, I want to play a video because it was brought up that IBIT in the quant has moved to a sell. Is that something to be concerned about? Well, this video from Bravos Research, it's 8 minutes. If you've got any investment in crypto, I want you to take a look at this video. It's 8 minutes of your time. The video shows the hypothesis. I'm in for it. Okay, the hypothesis basically is that, hey, gold has gone on a run. Bitcoin most likely will follow that run. We are at a key point in time. Tom Lee thinks that Bitcoin is going to run to 150 by the end of the year. Watch this video and then go and look at this newsletter, because this particular newsletter, worried about the gold silver correction? Don't be. It's just here. This guy, he studies gold. He studies gold. His thing, Gold Bug, crisis investor, author or co-author of 5 books on investing, founder and editor of Dollar Collapse. So he goes over it. Now, understand, gold people have not been my friend. They have not been people I've listened to, but this gives you a good look at gold. And we've gone on a bull run on gold. It might not be over. So you may see a parabolic move on something like Bitcoin and gold at the same time. So if you've got any questions, again, I'm always here to answer any questions. But remember, this podcast is about my look at things, not your look at things. You need to develop your own skills. You need to make your own mistakes. You need to understand the stocks that you own. We are in a bull market until we're not. I am not saying that this is the end of the bull market. We haven't even seen a downturn of the 50-day or the 200-day yet. But it might concern some people if we start to go into a downturn. Understand what you hold. Understand where your bottom is. Understand where you want to sell. Understand where you want to buy. Those are the tools that I have available for you. It's TrendSpider and it's Premium and Alpha Picks from Seeking Alpha. It's the bundle. Those are the only two things that you buy. Put them on your wish list. We talk about, putting together your watch list. This is your wish list. This is for Christmas. Wait until the Black Friday sales and go and get the tools. Understand, this is your year. Next year, it's going to be harder than this year. 2023 was tough because 2022 was a down year. You didn't know that 2023 was going to be really good. And then at the beginning of 2023, everybody said, oh, you can't have 2 years in a row that's good. 2024 wound up killing it. It's good. Just go and look at a yearly chart of QQQ. Again, my point on this is if you look at this yearly chart, 2022, you were down 33%. And they said 2023, there's no way it's going to be good. It was up 52%. That doesn't include the intra-year. That's just from start to finish. And at 52%, they said, no way 2024 is going to be good. 2024 was up 25%. And they said 75% in 2 years. There's no way 2025 can be good. And boom, we're up 20% year to date on this candle. So do we come back down? Maybe. Again, it is a very stretched market. Doesn't feel comfortable for anybody. I'm questioning myself every day. Should I sell out? Should I get to more safety? I manage my parents' 80. My parents are 80 years old. Their portfolio invested just like mine. Probably not the right thing to do, but we're in a bull market. And they're thankful for it over the last 6 months. That's when I started getting them into this. They have significantly increased their portfolio over the last 6 months. And again, am I pulling out? No. I am simply watching the charts. And that's what I'm trying to teach people is the way that I look at things is both a fundamental standpoint and a technical standpoint. And I think that's going to protect me when we start to go through this downturn. 2022, I didn't earn money, but I didn't lose 33%. So again, if you have any questions, if you need answers for anything, I'm here. I'm just not going to give you financial advice, but get the tools that I use because I show you how to use them every day. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.
Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears. Tune in daily, don't miss a single show. Sign up for the newsletter, let us help you grow. Taking risks, making moves, seeking success. Together we'll conquer, no room for any less. Every morning I wake up to the sound of the trading bell. My heart starts to pound. Daily stock pick trading podcast in my ears, guiding me through my hopes and fears.